You ever have one of those days where you think you've finally earned a break, and then the universe just flips the whole script on you? Yeah, that was me, or I should say that was Kesha Johnson, driving home after a 12-hour shift in the ER, still in scrubs, hair tired, mind even more so. Just hoping to make it back to her husband Daniel and their two girls, dinner waiting, kids running up for hugs, the normal kind of peace folks work for. But let me back up a sec because the part you're not going to believe is how fast respect can get snatched away out there, how quickly someone in a uniform can decide your life needs a little lesson. And that night, it wasn't about traffic law, it was about control, plain and simple. Kesha saw it coming from a minute the cruiser pulled behind her at the intersection, lights flashing for a rolling stop she never made. She's a black woman in America. She knows the drill. So she killed the engine, both hands on the wheel, calm as can be, doesn't even reach for her bag. But Officer Dan Harris, the tie plate 50s silver hair, thinks every conversation is a showdown, is already walking up, rookie Jake Riley trailing behind, all swagger and no wisdom, itching to prove himself. Out of the car, Harris says, and the way he says it, it's not a request. Kesha just breathes, steps out, looks straight ahead, doesn't say a word. Got an attitude? Huh? He sneers, like her silence is disrespect. She's heard that before, too. Resisting arrest adds 5 years, princess. Harris mutters as he twists her arms behind her back, like he's trying to make it hurt. But Kesha just stands there, quiet fury in her eyes, not about to give him what he wants. Riley leans in. Yeah, call your baby daddy. Try to get a laugh out of Harris. But Kesha's already slipped her phone out, dialing a number she knows by heart. Doesn't even need to look, just raises the phone as Harris tightens the cuffs. Daniel, they're arresting me. That's all she gets out before Riley knocks the phone away, ending the call, but not before the line picks up, not before Daniel hears her voice, hears the strain, hears the sirens in the background. And here's where everything changes. Because most folks think calling your husband from the back of a squad car is just desperation, but most folks don't know Daniel Johnson. 15 minutes later, those flashing lights aren't from the cruisers. They're from a big black government Suburban, tires screeching as it swings up to the curb. Doors fly, open out steps Colonel Daniel Johnson, Army dress uniform, medals catching the streetlight, flanked by 2 military police who look like they'd eat regular cops for breakfast. The rookie, Riley, goes pale. He's seen this kind of uniform on TV, but never in real life. And it dawns on him that they may have picked the wrong family to teach a lesson. Harris tries to keep his cold smirks. This is our jurisdiction, Colonel. But his voice cracks a bit. Daniel's calm as ever, but there's steel in it, that kind of cold that makes grown men sweat. You detain my wife without cause, he says, real slow, like each word weighs 100 pounds, body cam footage, witnesses, and me. He doesn't raise his voice. Doesn't need to. He steps forward close enough you can smell the starch on his collar and looks Harris in the eye. You picked the wrong family. Now, in the chaos, the police radios start buzzing. Dispatch has picked up that there's a colonel on scene. Stand down, all units. Chief en route. And you can feel the mood shift, The chief pulls up, trying to play the peacemaker, sweat beading on his forehead. Colonel, let's talk about this inside. But Daniel just pulls out his own finino hesitation. Just a flick of the wristband, you can see the screen, video call already live, Pentagon logo, some big shots face in the corner. And this is the part that made even Harris's jaw drop. Daniel says, this is streaming to the Pentagon, the NAACP, and ANN. And right there, the chief's bravado melts away. His mouth works, but nothing comes out. Harris tries to square up, still clinging to whatever shred of authority he's got left. But Daniel just points at his chest. Touch my wife again, and I'll end your career. Right here, right now. Both of you. The silence after that is heavy, like the whole block's holding its breath. Even Riley, who started this whole mess with his little power trip, looks like he wants to disappear. And here's the twist, not the cinematic kind, but the kind that actually matters. Daniel doesn't raise his voice, doesn't swing his rank around for show, just quietly demands their badge numbers, asks for the footage, tells the chief this isn't ending with an apology. There's going to be accountability, he says, and the chief, with all the cameras now pointed his way, knows he's not getting out clean. Harris's face goes blank as the realization sets in. Not just a suspension, not just a bad headline, but his entire career on the line. Riley, still young enough to be scared, starts stammering apologies, but the damage is done. The chief sighs, "Harris, Riley, turn in your badges." That's Itone's sentence, and just like that, it's over. A month later, word comes down Harris loses his pension. The union won't back him. His name gets dragged through every channel. Riley's record is wiped after Kesha's lawsuit, and some community pressure. Maybe there's a chance he learns something from all this, maybe not. And Daniel stands by Kesha's side at a press conference, his uniform immaculate, her hand tight in his while she tells the world, voice steady as ever, "This stops with us." Behind them, the police commissioner announces new de-escalation training, some reforms, a promise that this won't happen again, but you know how promises go. The cameras pan out reporters, community leaders, even some of the same cops who watched it all go down, and for a moment, just a moment, you feel like maybe justice means something after all. But here's my question: what would have happened if Daniel hadn't picked up that phone? If there hadn't been a uniform, a title, a whole system behind her? Would anyone have listened? Or would Kesha be another name, another headline, another woman asked to stay calm while her dignity got stripped away? You know what I mean? So yeah, if this story got to you, hit that like button, drop a karma in the comments. But more than that, tell me, what do you think justice really looks like when the power is not in your hands? Because this time, it ended with a press conference and a promise. But next time could be anybody.